withholding.
What was in the files?
They got caught.
What was in the files?
It was an uncorroborated.
What? Say that one more time. Uncorroborated, right?
Well, why were they hiding it?
They weren't hiding it.
They were hiding it.
Okay.
They literally took it out.
They were hiding it.
No, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like the entire Democratic
Party. Did you
Party.
even know me for the last 4 years?
I did know you for the last 4 years. I followed you for a long time.
This year.
Yes,
I've never met you before this year. You don't know me. At the very same time that all of this is happening, at the same day he's saying that, the DOJ now releases more Epstein files that this time.
Oh, come on.
Oh, so you're laughing
this is, yes, I am laughing. No, I'm laughing at you using the victims for some cheap, silly political point.
So in this heated discussion, we're going to see Charles Blow and Jason Rantz, or Jason Rantz, I think his name is, kind of get into a bit of a heated discussion simply because Charles Blow says the quiet part out loud. He says what a lot of people are actually thinking in the reasoning as to why Donald Trump chose now of all times to go ahead and start this war with Iran. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to hold my thoughts and my perspectives towards the end, but I may give a little bit during. Let's get into it.
Tonight, a little under a week into his war with Iran, Donald Trump has his eyes set elsewhere. In a phone call today with CNN's Dana Bash, the president said Cuba is going to fall pretty soon, and they want to make a deal so badly. That's what he said. He also said he'd send Secretary of State Marco Rubio over to Cuba and that he'd, quote, see how that works out. Trump added, quote, I've been watching Cuba for 50 years, and it's fallen right into the lap. So we were right on the precipice of having this conversation when we had to take a break. But this idea of nation building, of Venezuela, we now see in Iran, and we were just starting to get into that. What are your thoughts?
I'm a girl from Tampa.
Yeah.
Cuba, I just got to tell you, is Florida politics. People might, I'm not Cuban, but if you know Florida politics, Cuba has long been a mainstay in Florida politics. When I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, this was about communism. It's not about communism today. It's about geopolitical influence, Chinese intelligence. You're looking at Latin America. They want to have that positioning to be able to have that stronghold that's so close to the U.S. It's, again, like my point on this isn't, Donald Trump isn't doing regime change. It's regime maintenance. So you talk to Fidel Castro's grandson. He likes to party. We like to party. Let's make a deal together and figure this out. He believes this is low-hanging fruit, something that they can accomplish and move forward. Is it really what happens? Is it ripe for change? We'll have to wait and see.
It sounds like there was diplomacy you just mentioned.
Might just be a little diplomacy.
Might be some diplomacy in there.
Might be.
How much of this all lines back to China when you're looking at Venezuela, when you look at what's going on in Iran, when you're looking at Cuba?
I feel like everybody in Washington these days wants to say everything's about China all the time and justify whatever they want to do by saying, oh, this is a China thing, so we got to do it. That's not really true, okay? The reasons that we're so involved in toppling Latin American governments has very little to do with China. When you consider the fact that China's economic presence in Latin America has nothing to do with who runs the place. They'll deal with anybody. We're going to topple the Iranian regime. They're going to deal with the next Iranian regime the next day. They don't care, okay? And what they do is they offer positive engagement through investment, and that investment is predatory and ends up screwing those countries over. But we come in and bomb the place. We're actually pushing a lot of these countries into Chinese arms, quite unfortunately, okay? And then we say, oh, we did it to keep China out, and it doesn't actually work that way. And it's just an excuse to cover up the real motivations, whatever they may be. And to think that Cuba's just going to fall in a couple of weeks because Donald Trump's been watching it and he's like calling it is ridiculous. And we can't discount the fact that part of his plan might be to attack or arrest the leaders of Cuba, because that's what he just did in Venezuela and in Iran. So he's talking very casually and very callously about another regime change operation, and without even really bothering to explain it at all. And that's where we are in our politics and our society.
I think it could absolutely be all geopolitical, completely. But at the very same time that all of this is happening, at the same day he's saying that, the DOJ now releases more Epstein files that this time.
Oh, come on.
Oh, so you're laughing?
Yes, I am laughing. No, I'm laughing at you using the victims for some cheap, silly political point.
It's cheap and silly.
Yes, I think it's cheap and silly. No, I think you're using them in a cheap and silly way, and that is a shame. Shame on you for doing that.
No, not shame on me.
You should feel shame for that.
I am always going to be on the side of the victims.
Except for the last 4 years.
No, What are you talking about?
Yeah, like the entire Democratic
Party. Did you
Party.
even know me for the last 4 years?
I did know you for the last 4 years. I followed you for a long time.
I've never met you before this year.
Yes,
I've never met you before this year. You don't know me. Anyway.
Oh, sorry, we didn't get coffee together, so I don't actually know you.
Okay, wait, I do want to talk about the politics of this, though, for a second, because Donald Trump won and is known for America First. That's all he ever talks about. That's what he told the American people. I'm going to make things more affordable for you. Life is not going to be as hard to make sure that you can send your kids to school and keep them in your home and pay for your gas. And Americans are still really struggling with that. We've had people like Marjorie Taylor Greene say this is America Last policy, to be focused on so heavily on foreign policy. Is this an abandonment of what he promised people?
No, I think this is in support of that. When we have a weakened Iran, when we have a weakened Maduro regime, or a non-existent one right now, it obviously does help us. It's playing more into the long-term strategy, not a short-term strategy, for sure. I mean, look.
And one of the things he promised was to release those Epstein files, and then he started to
You
block
just got mad that they were released.
No, I
You just got mad that some of the you're claiming that. So that was not a criticism.
What are you talking about?
So you were celebrating the fact that we just released some of these files.
Absolutely, because they withheld them. And then they got caught withholding them.
What was in the files?
They got caught.
What was in the files?
It was an uncorroborated.
What? Say that one more time. Uncorroborated, right?
Well, why were they hiding it?
They weren't hiding it.
They were hiding it.
Okay.
They literally took it out.
They were hiding it.
They were hiding it.
They're hiding something that's uncorroborated that makes the claims that are just completely absurd. But we're pretending that this has something to do with what's going on in Iran. Yes, okay. Yeah. You caught the president. He's going after Iran, and he's talking about Cuba because he wants to hide something that y'all have been talking about nonstop for the last year. No one forgot about it at all.
No.
Okay, but I want to get back, respectfully, I do want to get back to the primary question,
anyway,
which
about Cuba.
About Cuba and about this, they've denied nation building again and again. And in fact, hang on, we can play the clips, and then I want to hear watch this.
We do not seek war. We do not seek nation building. We do not seek regime change. We are going to end the era of nation building.
I don't think we should be nation building anymore.
We will end the era of nation building.
Okay, is this nation building?
I think we have to start to entertain the possibility that Donald Trump has no core principles. It's possible he just says what he needs to say to get through the day to whatever audience he's standing in front of, and that when it comes to foreign policy, he's liable to change his mind based on a whim or who he talked to or what his
based on the
personal
context of what's happening.
Oh, that's leverage.
Sometimes things change.
And occasionally he does the right thing too. I'm not here to say he never does the right thing. I'm just saying there's no way to predict
what they say about a Brooklyn clock.
But right twice a day.
Exactly.
Well, no. Your basic argument is that you disagree with some of the positions that he's taking.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But it is actually what it sounds like you're saying.
There's no actual core strategy or ideology of Donald Trump's foreign policy. I wrote a whole book about it. You should read it. It's really good.
So is that what this is?
Let's trade books. I'll give you What's Killing America, and you
This
can
is, in your view, strength. This is
dominance. I mean, so we've long appreciated that that Donald Trump has a very negative view towards the Japanese tariffs in the 1980s,
right.
The Japanese trade balance, and then the tariffs put on. He views that as a way of enforcing American strength. The other thing I hadn't really appreciated is, at the same time as that was the Iran hostage crisis. And how did the U.S. look? Incredibly weak. What was our standing in the world? How was it viewed that we could be pushed over? Donald Trump views at the end of the day that if folks fear the United States, we are strong and we are safe. If we are not feared, we are not strong and we are not safe. And the German
I'd rather have that war spiraling out of control make us more safe.
And why not
banking his entire
and why not lead the world in a positive way through
Okay, Rena, I'm going to let you have the last word, and then we're going to go to break.
Look, he's banking his entire foreign policy and practically much of his presidency on Iran. This could not be more crucial. You've got midterms coming up. I am a mom. Do you know how much oranges and bananas and milk costs? I know my oranges and bananas and milk aren't coming through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm not cutting up, I'm buying them all cut up, my watermelon. It is expensive. And while the milk isn't coming through the Strait of Hormuz, people start to believe that it is. And if it affects, I was at Costco and two couples were arguing over how coffee, Folgers coffee, is up double. It's almost $22 for a little thing. So people are starting to feel the pressure point, and oil is the next big thing because, the measurement that we use in the U.S., hit 90% today, 90. When you hit $90, your gas prices go up. There is no political about it. It's proven, and it happens.
And
when people start feeling it, the pressure is on, and that's when international story becomes a domestic
story. All right, stay with us. Up next, Bro.
So, look, I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, but look, I don't understand why Jason Rantz is acting like this is such a far-fetched reasoning. Let's take a look at the reality on things. A lot of people have stopped speaking about the Epstein files simply because the headlines are being dominated by the war. That's just the fact. The media at the moment don't care about the Epstein files. And if you take a look, you can actually go and see that more Epstein files have been released. But as I said, because of the fact that now there's a war going on and now everyone's attention is now focused on that, people are not concentrating on the Epstein files anymore. So I don't understand why he's acting like it's such a far-fetched idea. You know, Donald Trump could have launched this war whenever he wanted to. He could have. You know, he actually said part of the reasoning in regards to nuclear, them having things to be able to develop nuclear weapons. He said that they wiped that out, absolutely obliterated it. If he wanted to go to war, he could have went to war then, and he could have continued the war and achieved the objective that it is that he's trying to achieve now. He could have done that then, but he chose not to. He chose not to. So I just think it's crazy that Jason Rantz is trying to act like Charles Blow's point is wrong. I don't think it is. I think it's very, very valid. And it is something that shouldn't just be laughed at and dismissed. And the fact that it is that he tries to turn around and say, oh, I don't like the fact he's trying to politicize it. It's not being politicized. I mean, what he said is facts. And we've actually seen that more Epstein files have been released in the midst of this ongoing war. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this back and forth in the comment section below. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and also give the video a thumbs up and a hype if it's something that you'd be open to doing. Appreciate you guys. See you guys in the next clip.